right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome onto another edition of the New Breed Podcast Show on Sports Empire Network. I am your host, Jake Silva from the One Hit Show, the Snake Sports Talk Show. If you haven't done so already on the show, like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell button for all latest notifications on future and past shows. I can tell you right now, the talents are just coming in far and wide, and it's getting better from here. And we are so excited to introducing the futures of all major sports from the collegiate level to hopefully their path into all the major sports. So joining me here this morning, all the way out from Greenville, North Carolina, is Khloe Moye. Khloe, good to have you up on here this morning. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I've got my fresh cup of coffee. I'm always just ready to roll on the morning. So seeing from, your highlights and of course, just your style of play, it's really, really impressive. Now, I will tell you, I live in Las Vegas and it's home of the world champion Las Vegas Aces. You see a
Mhm.
lot of these great players, Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Chelsea Gray. There's so much talents that are all around. And just from seeing from your style of play, it's so impressive. Um, so going into like in the school that you're in now, what's the environment like? Because when I see a lot of, the Christian schools, there's a totally different atmosphere. It's very positive, it's very uplifting. And to me, I'm a very spiritual person and I love those kinds of personalities because it's one, when you're in the grind, you're ready to roll. And then at the same time,
Mhm.
like off the court, they're such great personality. So what's that atmosphere like for you being in the Christian Academy?
Yeah. So I'm really just uplifted by the people that are around me. My teammates, my coach, especially, is always just relating to the Bible when he's talking in practice and games. We always pray before games. So it's really just comfortable for me. Like I'm allowed to spread the word around with my teammates, around my school. I'm allowed to just believe what I like to believe in. I like to be able to tell the truth and I'm glad that I get to share that with my teammates.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the best things, going into it. And that's also too what builds great chemistry because of the
Mhm.
fact of you both all of you are in the same atmosphere, before and even after games and even during games when times like I look at it this way. Um, because it's always a challenge to all of us, even in life. When we're in the trenches and we're trying to figure out ways getting past it and getting over the hump, and especially a lot of situations, whether it's on the court or you're in life. Um, you always want to seek the best guidance as well, and just kind of getting you through to being successful, in sports and even being being in life as well, and going into academics. Um, so seeing from your play, I mean, because you've got really good shots and of course too, like, really good ball distributor and ball handler as well. And so, like, from your perspective and how you train, I mean, what are some of the key things when you're on the court that you work onto your game and improving it and mastering it? Is there normally like a set standard and a structure that you have going into either practice or pregame?
Yeah, so first off, I just want to thank Jeremy Jeffers from Powerplex. I want to thank Keith McLaughlin from The Dungeon, and I want to thank Curtis Hines from Hines Workouts. But especially, I always go up to them before we train and just tell them, hey, these are the plays that we run. Here's where I am. Can we work on the certain shots that I get in the game? Can we work on the certain moves that I need to get where I am on the court? Defensively as well, what things do I need to work on that I see in my game? They also watch my games before and make their own opinion on things that think I need to work on. Footwork, just things like that. I also tell them like certain places I am on out of bounds plays, things like that, just especially for me, just working on what I need to work on, not just like going through the motions with things that I'll never do in the game, but actually getting game motion in my play. So
And that's good because ultimately, like all coaches, no matter the sport, I mean, you obviously are building that trust in that relationship
Mhm.
as well. And it's working with it, whether it's a team effort or individualized, because ultimately it's like trying to make sure a well-ran oiled machine works properly to where everybody's on the same pages, everybody's, they're collaborating in the best way possible because that's what really builds the chemistry, and that's also too what, a lot of players, even, on the outsides, they see that, and
Mhm.
it's either, how do we compete with that? How do we really mesh in with that kind of play style? And so it's so good because practicing that and mastering that as well is what only gets better, not just from the player, but even from the team standpoint as well. So, and watching you, because I watch a lot of NBA players as well. I
Mhm.
think because we've transitioned so much, because my style of basketball, it was very physical. It was always ones that, like, it was a one-on-one challenge. Can you
Yeah.
beat me at this spot? And now we're starting to see a lot more of um 3-point shots are more involved. A lot of players now are starting to work on those. Some of them, they still stick to a lot of perimeter shots, but it's also too how they control it, how they really, control the flow and the tempo on the court. So, working on it offensively, what are the things that you see that you kind of go into in-game situation that you work with your team to execute a lot of plays? Like, how do you see that offensively?
Well, in practice, I know that I'm always. Can you repeat the question?
So
Sorry.
basically, on the offense, because watching a lot of these players now, we're starting to see them work on 3-point shots, work up on perimeter shots, and sometimes too, there's different styles of play from opposing defenses as well. Um, like, what's your guys' strategy when you go offensively in in-game situations? What are the things you guys look for when it comes to getting a shot, getting the points in? Like, what are the things you look for on that? Whether it's, you're needing a 3-point shot or you're just needing a bucket to get yourselves, gives yourselves the lead or securing the leads in games.
Mhm. Definitely, Coach Lester looks at film before the game, so he looks at the other defense, especially what defenses they play, what defenses they're weak at, that we need to use certain plays against. So, mostly the teams that we play are playing like usually a zone defense because we're really slashers for my team. So, mostly we are just going to the basket, driving. So, most teams play zone. So we're usually playing like a 41 offense, which is just cutting to like keeping someone in the middle to be able to space out so our shooters can't shoot. So we're usually just we're trying to get the ball in and out. We're trying to get it high low. We're trying to just share the ball around the court and move because the zones have really big spaces in the middle that are really open. So Coach Lester's just focusing on the fact that we need to get the ball in and out to keep the defense moving around. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I mean, that's always the best part because even watching from a lot of different coaches, in the pro level, I mean, there's always like a different style of play, and there's always some type of strategic play from the blueprint that, all the players they see. They're like, this is how we want to attack the basket. This is how we want to kind of wear out the opposing defenses in order for us to get the ball in the bucket as well. Whether it's I need a 3-point shot, or I need a bucket. And of course, too, um, there's also time involved because I'm sure you guys look at the time almost all the time and you
Mhm.
guys are kind of seeing, all right, this is where we're at. We want to shed the clock as much as we possibly can. But at the same time, it's wearing the opposing team out and getting to the point where we're keeping our lead secured. Um, and so looking at it and evaluating from the game standpoint, was there ever like a professional player that you looked up to from just seeing their game, seeing how they really distribute and how they really produce themselves on the court as well? Was there ever somebody that you researched and kind of saw, okay, I like his style of play. That's maybe something I might want to work on.
Mhm. Definitely gonna have to be Steph Curry. He's just is just an amazing player. Like, honestly, Steph Curry not only is just a shooter, but he moves around the court. He gets his team involved, and I just see myself as trying to be that player in the future. He shows me how I need to get open when there's like a box and one, just moving around the court and just uplifting his teammates. I see that a lot in him. I also see that he never gets down on himself. When he's not making threes, he's making sure that other people are getting shots, and he's keeping his team in the game. So even when he's not on, he's always in the game. You can always see him present on the court.
I can tell you, I mean, that's a fantastic player from there. From I mean, not only just from his on-court, performance, but you just see the leadership in him, and he's a leader's kinda guy. You know, he's not somebody that, like and you see a lot of players. You see kind of their character when they're on and off the court, and he's just the kind that he's just so chill. He's a family-oriented person and somebody that a lot of people really do look up to. So that I love that. I love that people see that and they're just like, I love his style of play and I love how he carries himself on and off the court because that's so important. Because I mean, what even getting into the higher level, everybody sees you. I mean, the public sees you, and the one thing you want to carry on is you want to be there with your head held high, whether it's win or losses. And at the same time, it's also uplifting your team as well because teammates, there's some that they count on you. You know, they're like,
Right.
what's our next play? You know, that's what they look for. And so to develop and build that kind of relationship and leadership, I think is so grand. I think for a lot of us, because I think about this too, you know, spiritually. I mean, we see it in the book all the time. There are a lot of leaders that we've seen in the book where people have looked up to. They ask questions, they search for answers, and for some, it's like they give them in the most powerful way without trying to feel like, you know, they're trying to control, like they're trying to get so much
Mhm.
power, but it's open to where it's like it's very simple if you follow these kinds of steps, you know, and then it's building that relationship and building that trust as well. So that's always a great player to really research and look because, yeah, I mean, he's been very impactful in the game. And a lot of young players, much like yourself, you know, seeing him and developing, I mean, this is a guy that they look up to for a lot of these kinds of, these kinds of, uh, styles of play and even just the character too, character building relationships. So have you so far have gotten any kind of offers so far from just from your play? Has there been anybody that's reached out to you from the collegiate level?
Yes, Coppin State, Jermaine Woods. I just want to thank him right now for offering me actually last year in my eighth grade summer with Boo Williams. So yes.
All right, all right. Well, we got one right there up into the
Mhm,
books, and honestly, hopefully, a lot more as well. And but I'm sure for you because I know that I mean, you're very close with your family, right?
mhm,
And I think the biggest thing is for you, like when you go into a college setting, you know, hypothetically speaking, when you go into that, because I can tell you from personal experience, it's it's really challenging. You know, I was seeing myself into a point where I was like, can I succeed in this college
mhm,
level? Because it's so much life development because one, you're getting geared up to being in the real life and a lot of people, they're successful in every areas, whether it's in sports, whether it's in, you know, businesses and such. Um, when you get into that feeling, like how much of that are you gonna feel, you know, walking into those doors and
mhm.
whichever place it may be? Like, what do you think may be the expectation for yourself walking in and just getting that experience in the college level?
I just want to thank my dad for allowing me to just have my mom and my dad for allowing me to have the chance with NRCA and Coach Lester because I really feel that NRCA prepares me for this lifestyle for college, not only on the basketball court but in student life as well. They're always just preparing you for what it's going to be like with tests, homework, anything like that. You're always just being prepared
Mhm.
for it. And really feel like I'm prepared for it on the court as well. Coach Lester is always making sure we're in practice, we're getting the health things that we need. When I'm going to college, I think I'll just be expected to just play my role, just be a part of the team, uplift the team, just play my role and play how I need to play. And I just feel like Coach Lester and RCA as a whole is just really preparing me for that college life.
I love that. That's a great mentality. That's a great mindset to walk into. And I mean, I'm excited for you. I really, really am. And there's so much possibilities. And I talk with a lot of young kids and seeing them grow before our very eyes and to see them to be successful, whether it is or not in sports. I want to see them successful in no matter what position in life that they are in. And I ask every student this, but walking into the college level, and is there a particular academic you may possibly strive for by the time that you're ready up in college soon? Is there maybe something in just the career realm
Mhm.
um that you're kind of interested in that kind of catches your attention a little bit?
My parents have said a lot of times that I like to argue. So law is just really something that I'm really interested in. I'm interested in the sports agents field too, and maybe communications as well. Just being able to talk to people, relate to people, uplift people around me, and also bring my spiritual growth into it as well. Spreading the word with my the people around me in college is just something that I really want to do. So law is definitely something that I've been thinking about for a very long time and something that I would like to do.
I'll tell you what, though, I mean, in the law field, it's a very, very challenging world from there, and
Hmm.
I know that from personal experiences. I mean, when I went to college, I had graduated with an associate's in criminal justice, and it was a lot of just, online or was on campus, learning, and it was all about, critical thinking. And I think that's the one thing I think in our society that we need more of. We need more critical thinkers. We want more outside the box thinkers because in the end, we're so used to being in just one system. But the problem is, in systems they change all the time, and it's how do we acclimate with the change and just so to having more futures, coming in and really reshaping of what our society and our nation should be. I think is going to be one that's going to be really, really special, and I am all for it. And I can tell you
Hmm.
from that point, very challenging, but man, it's a heck of a career. I can tell you that from that perspective. But that's amazing though, and that's great because building up to and a lot of these kids, for some of them, they may not know what the direction is in their life, and that's totally fine. But ultimately, it's like we always say, God can build the path, and it's not always what our time is, it's what his timing is and how he levels that, that path for us. So, amen to that. I love that. And for me personally as a spiritual person, I mean, I have my sister and brother-in-law. They're ministers as well at one of the churches here
Hmm.
in Vegas. And I mean, it's a great atmosphere, and I love the fact of when we have spiritual people, they think outside the box and they're the kinds that like they spread the positivity because I think right now, because of how challenging times are, we want more of that. We want to spread more of that good news. We want to spread more of that positivity everywhere. So to seeing it from you and how you do that on and off the court, I think is going to be building something real special. And for people that may see you, not just from, your athletic standpoint, but hopefully from just your character and how you carry yourself, I think they're gonna get a really, really special one. So, I'm really excited for you, Chloe, and I really do, hope for the best, future and the future endeavors for you down the road, and just really pulling for you. And hey, ever find yourself up in Vegas, I'm telling you, these girls here, I mean, these young women from Becky Hammon absolutely ecstatic, and it was so good to see them win the first championship in my hometown, and just to seeing how strong these women are because it's what separates the girls from the women as well, because it's building something that's more than yourself. And so, I'm sure you might see a lot of these women in WNBA, you kinda see them, like, as how do they carry themselves? How do they really lead the pack, And so, I'm really excited for you, pulling for you, and really hope for the best for you. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on with us on the New Breed podcast. Hope you have an amazing day as well, and God bless to you as well, and really excited for a future for you, Chloe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for allowing me to come up here.
Absolutely, not a problem. You have a wonderful day. Take
You
care of
too.
yourself, and pulling for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. All right, Chloe Moy. I love personalities and characters like that. Because ultimately when it comes to just sports, it's more than just the sport. It's about how you really carry yourself and how you really see life. And so to see that with Chloe and being in a Christian academy, because I see a lot of these Christian schools from a lot of kids, and they have a different way of just seeing it from not only just their performances on the field or on the court, but how they carry themselves afterward off the court. And to keep it at a high level and, classy, respectful, 100% all the way, I respect that. And I love that as a spiritual person because in the end, it's not just what we do for ourselves, but it's what we do, um, you know, from speaking of this, because I hardly do because I know with the position obviously I'm in, but the fact that God's the one that really does pave the way for us, and that's where we want more of that. We want to spread more of that news and also spread more of that positivity. And so to see these kids blossom this way, I think it's amazing. And I think we need more of that. Um, but Chloe, heck of a player, and I'm really, really excited for what the future really does hold for a lot of players down the road. But this is what the new breed is all about. It's speaking with these kids very young and getting to the point where they're getting prepared for college and beyond. So I'm excited for it. All right, guys, it's going to do it here for the New Breed podcast. I appreciate everybody joining in, appreciating Chloe Moye for joining us as well earlier and speaking her thoughts and, of course, evaluating more of just her game and, of course, what she sees off the court as well. Really appreciate her time being with us. If you guys haven't done so already, like, follow, subscribe, and hit the bell button for all latest notifications as well to keep you up to date. And you don't want to miss the next episode of the New Breed podcast. Have a great day and have a great rest of your weekend, guys.